Hey Rover fans, thought I'd make a follow-up video to my tips and tricks for my header replacement and sunroof leak. Some people were asking for that, so got a couple tips. Worked out very well, except a couple small things I wanted to share with you guys. One thing is these two items here. So I would not choose this Krylon Easy Tack. It's repositionable. It mostly worked very well. However, I didn't read the fine print, and the interior of the car during a hot day is outside and above the operating temperature of this stuff. So when it's probably like 120 in the car, it can release a little bit. So I got a solution for that. That's coming up. And then the soldering iron. This was really important. So what I did with that was basically after I had the header out and all covered with the fabric, from the back side I started cutting out all the shapes, and everywhere where there was a screw hole, which was a ton of places, I just took that soldering iron. This is foam backed polyester, so the soldering iron hot just poked right through it, and that was really important. I made a hole every single place there was a screw to be put in, and that was really important when I got the thing back up in there to get all the screws centered. The other thing about recovering the header, in the very top part along this part here of your header, I normally, on the whole rest of it, I just cut the excess fabric along the edge, but in this section right here, you should leave a couple inches and wrap it up over the top and then glue it from the top. I had to come up with a little solution there to keep it actually all the way up, but that was no big deal. But in general, it turned out really well. Foam back polyester, and it's basically all in. Looks brand new. This area here was super important with all the screws to put it in. The one thing to note, in the corners right here, without cutting the fabric, you have to kind of fold it over. I didn't do too great of a job here in the corners, but I would recommend just making a crease and folding it and putting it around, and I think that basically looks good enough. I had some sections, like right up in here, there were these plugs for some sort of option that I didn't have, so of course I didn't recut those out. And that's basically it. This area here was super important to put together, obviously, before we put the header back on, and having those holes from the soldering iron for all the screws was key. Everything else turned out great. It looks brand new. There was one thing here, I had to make a little patch right there because the fabric was just barely not squared and centered when I brought the thing up. The widest fabric they had was 52 inches wide, and that is wide enough, but just barely. So when I had my helpers centering the thing, when I was spraying the header plus the fabric before I put it down, one side was not all the way over, and there was a little strip like that that wasn't enough to go underneath, so I just made that strip. But 52 inches will work. Make sure it's centered left and right completely. So I did that. The sunroof fix worked. As far as I can tell. It's been outside here in a couple of big storms, and there was no water inside, so I'm pretty sure that was it. That turned out great. And I don't know, that's basically it. I have my Land Rover hat on today, so that makes me instantly qualified to give advice. So there's your tips and tricks, and I don't know, good luck, man. It wasn't that big of a job.